Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us here in our first digital forum. I know that this is really a time of great adaptation. We are all practicing social distancing, hopefully, um, maybe in quarantine and self isolating right now, but we still long for, and it's still our most pressing of duties to organize right now. As the conditions continuously cause anxiety and worry for workers, for the working class, the global working class, it's important for us to adapt and find new ways to be together, that we continue onward in our struggle, that we are firming up the bonds of camaraderie, that we are having spaces where we can uh, engage in political conversation, political debate, and garner uh, class consciousness, the raising of class consciousness. So we're uh, we're treading on new soil, and I'm just grateful that you are here with us. And I'll just get into my talk. We are at a time of transformation. As we move through this COVID-19 pandemic, I'm sure many of you, like me, are wondering, how did we get here? The simple answer is, as my comrade Big E talked about earlier, is this is about capitalism and its response to not only this pandemic crisis, but how capitalism's profit over people motives have made the pandemics of poverty, job insecurity, low quality of healthcare and education, homelessness, and mass incarceration the norm that has only been further exposed during this COVID-19 pandemic. Working people are told to shelter in place, yet there's been massive layoffs, shortages of protective gear for frontline workers, and a blatant disregard for the well-being of essential workers. Mass evictions and home foreclosures are weighing heavily on the minds of working people because they don't know when or if relief is coming. These are just a few of the barriers working people are facing in this country, this state, and this parish during this pandemic. How could things have been different? And better yet, how can things be different going forward? How do we collectively move past the illusion of scarcity in a world so rich in resources, whether those resources be natural, material, human, and technological? How do we create an economic system based on the needs of the people and that can adapt quickly in times of crisis to keep us all as secure as possible? And the way that we do that is to have a revolution. But, really, one of the ways that we do that is by having a planned economy and a revolution. So you're wondering, what is a planned economy? A planned economy is an economic system that uses the means of production, such as factories, farms, and other facilities, to produce goods and services based on the needs of society's collective needs, right? Rather than to create profit for capitalists. Capitalists being wealthy people who use money to invest in trade and industry to amass more wealth for themselves. In a democratically and centrally planned economy, we could live and work in a society that gives every person on the planet enough to live a healthy and comfortable life while actually producing less. Fewer people would have to work in factories and farms, and we could actually live lives doing what we want to do instead of being forced into wage slavery just to survive. Other benefits of a planned economy is we can thrive and still live harmoniously with the planet. Under capitalism, since profit is the only motive for production, and the role of the worker is to trade your labor for a wage, then use that wage to consume, we are actually living in a time of overproduction. And although the United States is the majority of factories are in rural areas or outsourced to other states or countries to exploit lower worker wage protections and environmental regulations. And I'm looking directly at you, Louisiana. The capitalist machine will continuously produce goods that will possibly bring in profit with no regard to what society needs. This allegiance to profit above all else makes our current economic system very rigid and unable to adapt to the material conditions of society in real time. Now, an example of this would be in Wisconsin, where dairy farmers have been told to dump tens of thousands of gallons of milk per day because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Capitalism's perverse addiction to profit dictates that the milk cannot be given away because it would crush the dairy industry. Under a planned economy, if the needs of society changes dramatically, the already produced goods could be given out freely because profit is not the motive. Under a planned economy, we can shift the gears of production swiftly. Workers in factories all across this country are demanding that we shift the production at their workplaces to produce things that we actually need right now that would help us to prevent and fight this virus. Looking to the GE workers who are facing layoffs right now. These workers are demanding to be put to work building ventilators. The workers know what workers need because these workers are directly affected by the lack of PPEs. They know that their labor can be filling a societal need right now. So a lot of opponents of planned economy speak of how could people get what they need in a planned economy, that there's no way that the needs of billions of people can accurately and efficiently be produced and distributed without the free market catering to our every whim. And to that I say, we already have all of the technology to ensure that large-scale economic planning can happen now because it is happening now. An example of this would be large companies such as Amazon and Walmart. And I know I'm calling the devil in the room, but these companies and others have vast distribution networks and utilize economic planning for millions of products and services that involves multitudes of supply chains and non-price-based information in a way that is not only efficient, but works incredibly well. These companies operate on a global scale, and millions of workers are intimately connected to this very socialized way of distribution because they're the ones who are actually doing the work. Now, if only a certain class were to seize those means of production and utilize them not for profit, but the betterment of all humankind, we'd be cooking with grease, y'all. That is what our society needs at the moment. The working class already has skin in the game. When economic success is measured by how efficiently and quickly the needs of society are met, when our labor and the means of production are tied to our needs and not wage slavery or a board of directors bonus structure, our economic system actually serves the intimate purpose of meeting the needs of not only ourselves as individuals, but our communities as a whole. This combination of technological advances, the interconnection of labor on a global scale, and the rising class consciousness of the working class has given us a unique opportunity right now. And I know y'all can feel it. I know, that's why you're here listening to this. So I just want to affirm you right now in saying that we are at a great moment of transformation. We have a bountiful earth. We have the might of the working class, and we have the means to make a planned economy something that we can hold firmly in our grasp. A needs-based economy is necessary if we want an environmentally sound planet that can maintain the conditions to keep every living being at optimal health and provides access to resources in an equitable fashion. We must demand an economy where extreme wealth does not exist, and the needs of the working class is not an afterthought. Our destiny is not servitude to the rich, but peaceful communal cohabitation free from exploitation of our bodies, our minds, and our labor. Under capitalism, we do not have these things. We have been manipulated into believing that this system is the only choice that we have. But in order for us, the working class, to see the fruits of our labors, we must fight for it. Capitalism has told us time and time again that our place is at the bottom. But I'm going to tell you right now that that is lies and garbage. We are at a time of great transformation. And we must take our place next to each other, side by side, moving forward ever, backwards never. All power to the people.